Thank you for allowing me to say a few words about Sean. Liz and I have been Sean's next-door neighbours for 17 years, and he's been the most wonderful next-door neighbour that you could imagine. We so miss him as he was part of our lives. He was such a kind, warm and unassuming person, and yes, as other speakers have said, he has a great sense of humour. In winter, he would even, when in his 90s, clear the snow from our front path before we even had a chance to do it ourselves. We loved to chat with Sean over the garden wall, often about gardening, because he was an amazing gardener. Until only a year or two, he cultivated rows of vegetables in his back garden. In the old days, every house in our street probably had a vegetable garden, but his one was undoubtedly the last. And then this year, in his front garden, he's grown the most amazing crops of carrots, potatoes, lettuces, and other things. It's such a shame because he was taken away from us just as the crops were ready to harvest, and they're still there. Sean told us about his life. We were on holiday in Ireland a few years ago, and we stopped at Brewery and saw the tiny village school where he was educated. He told of how he would go out into the fields near his home and come back with armfuls of cowslips. I recently planted a wild cowslip flower here, and he immediately spotted it, and it brought back to him all those memories. He must have had a tough time coming to England in the gloomy 1950s, on his own, long way from home, and with no easy way of keeping in touch with friends and family. He told us about how he used to repair all radios as a hobby and also make a bit of money, and how he went on to become a BT engineer. He'd used this knowledge of electronics to build his remarkable motorised shopping trolley. I'd often pass him walking the trolley to Sainsbury's to get his groceries, which, by the way, is the best part of a mile from the house, which is not bad for a 94-year-old, so he was certainly fit. Can I also put in a word for John, as he's been a really good son to Eileen and Sean, has done so much for them, and of course for Sheila, Chris and Elias and the rest of the family. And yes, I must mention Felix the cat, who sadly died not long before Sean passed away, but they were all very fond of Felix and very soppy about cats, including John, by the way. Often, Sean's Christmas card to us contained a poem that he'd copied out in his neat handwriting. I expect you probably received them as well. Last year, it was this one, and perhaps he was thinking of Eileen, so I'm going to try and read it, although it is rather sad. When winter's breath is in the air, when birds are silent, trees are bare, and icy winds are sharp and strong, and days are short and nights are long. I know one day the birds will sing, and that there'll be another spring when they'll be blossomed on the spray. No one can take this hope away. It helps us through our tears and pain to know we'll all meet up again. For with each springtime, I can see that life goes on eternally. To Liz and John, good health and peace.
Mind that step? Of course, he's a Man United supporter. No wonder you fell. No. So, they were three fabulous eulogies. Thank you.